registered shareholders on, and the proxy voting has now closed. I don't propose to go through all of the nuances of all the legal meeting, and just that put a motion forward to approve all the items in the management information circular, and then I will turn it over to our CEO, who will give a brief presentation and answer some questions he received by email from participants. We won't have a formal Q&A, so I won't unmute everybody, but I will allow Paul to take the floor when I'm finished. So Paul, I'm going to ask you to give me a motion to approve everything in the circular.
I shall move.
Wonderful. I'm going to say this meeting is now terminated. I'm going to release Anita from her duties. Thanks, okay. Anita. Now, Paul, you're the only person who can currently speak other than me.
Okay, thanks so much.
Yep.
So yeah, that concludes the formal portion of our 2020 annual general meeting. I'm Paul McKenzie. I'm the CEO of Nexoptic. Thank you to Shauna, who is our corporate secretary and legal counsel, and also thanks to Anita from Computershare for acting as scrutineer today. I want to thank all of you for, first of all, for the overwhelming support that we received at this year's vote, and also for all of you who tuned in today. I've got the good fortune to be joined by our chairman, Rich Garrison, and also by our Vice President of AI Technologies, Kevin Gordon. We're going to be hearing from both of those gentlemen a little later in the corporate update. So with that, let's begin. As Shauna pointed out, we've received a lot of questions in advance of this meeting. And so what we decided to do was to build those into our presentations, and we're going to answer as many of them as possible. So this morning, we issued a news release announcing that we are the newest company to be selected by ARM to join its AI partner program. We are one of only approximately 50 companies to be invited into this highly coveted partnership. And if you didn't know, NVIDIA is purchasing ARM from SoftBank for US $40 billion. And that's going to make them the world's premier computing company for the age of artificial intelligence. So being selected as an AI partner of ARM is a strong validation of not only our AI, but also the potential for us to impact large segments of global industry. We are particularly excited about our relationship with ARM because of their significant footprint into IoT. So this has been a big year for us, and it's gone fast. 2020 has been a very interesting year. It was only 5 months ago, just 5 months ago, that we were first selected by NVIDIA for inclusion into their preferred partner network. And we were also selected by Qualcomm to join their Advantage network, joining the likes of Samsung. So we're a very esteemed company here. Further, we're the only one of 18 Qualcomm platform solution ecosystem members. So this speaks volumes about us, Nexoptic, and what we're doing. Firstly, ALIIS is undeniably a world-class AI solution for imaging. It stands apart from so many competitors. And second, it's a testament to our Vice President of AI Technologies, Kevin Gordon, who you'll hear from shortly, and his team, all of whom can trace much of their algorithm knowledge back to the University of Alberta in Edmonton. And through them, we are creating bleeding edge AI that has the potential to disrupt the entire imaging sector. So today, in today's economy, two of the fastest growing industries are artificial intelligence and imaging. A growing list of companies, including the world's largest, are deeply dependent on both of these industries for their future successes, in fact, for their survival. And as an interesting side note, the fastest growing segments of the imaging industry are for pictures and video that no human eye will ever see. So machine to machine, it's really quite remarkable. Another question I've been asked to comment on is to more fully outline our business model. So we're marketed by, ALIIS is marketed by ourselves, along with the marketing teams at Qualcomm, NVIDIA, and now ARM. And what we do is we work to license our artificial intelligence, ALIIS, directly to as many of their thousands of customers as possible. Now, we remain tied to their technical teams and their marketing departments. These are the world's largest and most innovative semiconductor companies, but we act independently with their OEM customers to license our technologies at individuated price points, typically on a per unit basis, tailored to each company. We've also received some questions regarding our multi-award winning product DoubleTake. Well, what happened on that is in the early part of this year, when it became evident to us that COVID was going to damper the global economy, disrupt global supply chains, and negatively impact consumer demand for prosumer items like DoubleTake, we decided to put a pause on its launch. Now, that decision was hard for us, but it helped us in a couple of ways. First of all, it allowed us to concentrate all of our efforts and capital on developing ALIIS, including securing our partner relationships, which I just outlined, ramping up our sales and marketing initiatives, and expand into our first overseas office in Korea. It also allowed us to better commit ourselves to securing our technologies by stepping up our patenting initiatives in artificial intelligence. But it also did something else for us. By pausing production on DoubleTake, it's given us a chance to rethink what it will ultimately be. For example, the delay ensures that we can now incorporate ALIIS into the first edition of DoubleTake, and the delay will make for a much better product in other ways too, like next generation image sensors, new battery technologies, and the like. So we're going to be adding features to DoubleTake that we hadn't previously thought were possible. For the time being, though, that project remains on hold, but we're excited about what it'll become when we at some point are able to bring it back into priority status. Several people have asked us to comment on our share price. Our recent share price high also happens to be our current 12-month high, and that is $1.53 Canadian a share. That gave us a market cap of about 225 million. Obviously, we are aware, as everybody is, that our market cap is lower now. We do believe, however, that our first commercial licensing agreements hold the potential to significantly increase our market cap. And we continue to work to complete on a variety of potential commercial transactions for ALIIS. As well, we're working to complete other major milestones for us. And I remain extremely confident in our future. I really believe in Nexoptic becoming a global recognized leader in bleeding edge AI solutions. So on that note, I'm now going to hand the floor over to our VP of AI Technologies, Kevin Gordon. Kevin?
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Paul. You can hear me, Paul?
Can do. Yep.
All right. I'll make sure before I start on to my spiel here. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. And definitely a big thank you for all the support that we've had over the past year. It feels like ages ago that we got GM. But as Paul mentioned, we've had the chance to hear from a few of our shareholders in advance of this meeting here today. I really hope that we can address some of that here, going over a little bit of a look forward to your head.
Kevin, your audio is breaking up a little.
All right, thanks for that.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay. How's it now?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll go with that. If it breaks up again, I can always join by another device. All right, in a pretty short amount of time, relatively short amount of time, we've taken our intelligent imaging software ALIIS from a research concept to really a center stage product suite here. As part of that, we've had, the great pleasure of meeting some very remarkable people and working at some of the leading technology and imaging companies worldwide. And thanks to our team's hard work, in some of these cases, the meetings have turned into partnerships that should ultimately allow ALIIS to grow and be deployed in the real world. And so I'd like to thank our partners at Qualcomm, NVIDIA, and yes, recently ARM for welcoming us into their fold. Our future is bright together. Alongside our partners, our AI team has been very hard at work porting our algorithms to our partner platforms. It's a big step. In some cases, it's fairly straightforward, but in others, it requires careful coordination with experts at the engineering teams from our partners. So big thank you to our AI team. They're doing hard work getting this onto devices that everybody would be familiar with. And today I'm happy to report ALIIS is supported on all Jetson chipsets, and it's also supported on Qualcomm's Snapdragon platform. Our development on Snapdragon has primarily focused on the Snapdragon 855 chips. That's from circa 2019. But the infrastructure we put in place will really allow us to support any modern Snapdragon chips, provided that camera architecture is similar. But more directly, deployment to the 600 series, 700 series, and 800 series chips from the past few years is possible. Ultimately, the work on Jetson and Snapdragon is going to mean that customers in all sorts of industries, applications are going to have an option of choosing ALIIS for their product on industry-leading chipsets. That's a real advantage we have right now. And they'll also have access to more than just low light. We announced last year we were moving beyond just low light. We've grown into include now many in-demand solutions. We have super resolution. We have this anti-glare technology. And we recently announced as well Neural ISP. We announced that over the summer. So it's not just being optimized right now for quality and performance. It's not just being ported to these different chipsets. It's also expanding. Day by day, we are expanding it to address other novel industry problems. So it's a very dynamic program we're running. People have asked if ALIIS can just in general be ported to any chip. I'd say the simple answer is yes. But, although it can be ported to any chip, the caveat is that AI workloads require some advanced hardware to really perform well. So that's why we've been focused so hard so far on partnering with chip leaders. And we're also listening to where industry is at right now, what their hardware requirements are. We want to maximize ALIIS's chances of being a success in real-world applications. So yes, any chip is game, but not all of them are appropriate. But that kind of brings me to Korea. That's really exciting news, our announcement about opening up an office in Korea for our Asian operations. But we also made mention to siliconization. Siliconization represents a long-term goal for the company. And I really have to emphasize here, it's not required for Nexoptic to become a successful company. This is an additional opportunity about bringing our very own purpose-built, economical, and low-powered chip to customers. But we're still very much in the exploration phase there. We'll keep you up to date as we progress that narrative, okay? It's really exciting, but it's exploration phase right now and not required for us to become successful. But alongside technological development, we're reinforcing, we're expanding our IP portfolio. We announced Neural ISP filing. That's very exciting technology. I'm glad we got a file in on it. And I can tell you that we've already filed more applications that expand our coverage of the ALIIS technology. So hope to update you in the near future about that. As that process continues, I'm confident we have something special to offer here, and our patent portfolio is going to reflect that as well. And we've also been asked by shareholders if we're working on anything else AI that's not directly related to ALIIS. To that end, we're very focused on ALIIS right now, I have to say. We're going to follow through on the opportunity that we have here right in front of us with ALIIS. There's marketing opportunities, there's integration opportunities, and there's licensing opportunities. There's, future's bright there. But as we grow and prove ourselves, we believe we'll have the experience to take on more projects outside of ALIIS. So to reiterate, there's huge potential with ALIIS and imaging software. Beyond that, there's this new exciting field of AI. daily there's great announcements in AI, just huge progress being made. So there's enormous opportunity there as well, and we're keeping our eye on it. It's a process we're executing right now. And so turning to the future, I'm very excited. I want to see ALIIS deployed on its first real-world commercial devices. That's what I'm really looking forward to now. It would be a major milestone for our team, everybody here at Nexoptic, and you, the shareholders, as well. And it'll come with a whole new set of challenges, but also opportunities, and we're very much ready to take that on. Right now, we're going to continue our integration onto new chipsets, new platforms, some small startups, maybe other big ones. And we're going to foster our existing partnerships and also our new partner relationships. And we're going to continue to expand on ALIIS's capabilities. So ultimately in this year, we're going to work to cement our position as a leading AI imaging software technology company and demonstrate that Nexoptic gets truly a better view. And that's what I have for you here today. So, on to Rich.
Let me just unmute Rich. Hang on.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
There we go. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kevin. I think Kevin made the point very well that while our current and immediate focus is on ALIIS and imaging, we are architecting this from the ground up to be really a foundational artificial intelligence platform. And as a result, it'll have a wide range of applications across many industries. And then, as we heard from Paul, we are now in partnership programs with really premier chip companies like Qualcomm, NVIDIA, and most recently, as was announced today, ARM. Given our strong product and given our premier partnerships, interest from potential customers has been very high. We are currently in dialogues with OEMs who are designing next year's models, as well as models to be released years from now. And I know the management team is working aggressively to conclude these negotiations as soon as possible. And the feedback has been extremely positive. And as part of this effort, we recently opened, as you know, the Korea office in Seoul, Korea. We've hired a very seasoned Korean head, as well as a senior sales executive with a successful track record in closing deals very similar to the ones we're targeting. This will allow us to develop Korea and the surrounding Asian regions, which are a sweet spot for interest in Nexoptic technology. Now, I know we've had a few headwinds, but our product, our partnerships, and the potential customers we are talking with make me very excited about our future. Now, I cannot think of a better investment to exploit the huge potential of this growing AI industry. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your participation. That's all for me, and now I'll turn it back to Paul.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Can you hear me? Am I on, Shauna?
Yeah.
You're on, Paul.
Okay, thanks much, Rich, and also thank you to Kevin. So with that, we're going to move to close today's meeting. I know there were 50 people, approximately shareholders, which is wonderful to see. It's too difficult to take questions on the fly, and that's why we solicited the questions in advance. We thank you to those who submitted them. We look forward to staying in touch with all of you. And we thank the people who contributed the questions. This is our first ever COVID era annual general meeting. So it's very different for us. We hope that next year we'll be able to hold our AGM in person like we've done in all years previous. And all of us here at Nexoptic, we sincerely very much appreciate your continued support. I wish everyone a great week and also